going to scare him away. Alright. Handful of people asked me to put a light on the mask. There actually is one on the mask right here. It's just a very dark mask. Okay? There it is. For the curious. And I think this is horse tail. Pretty sure it is. So there you go. There's that. Another day being alive. Crazy. Still alive. We're all still alive today. What are you going to do today? I'm going to do a lot today. But here's my morning ritual, which I just can't stop. What is it? They say once you do, talk about people who first start going to the gym or whatever, and you keep hearing that one, once a human being does something 20 times in a row, it becomes habit. I don't know if that's true or not. Is it? I don't know. I got no problems doing this at all. It's just, it almost feels like I need to do it. I have to do this. Like brush my teeth. Now, what's going on? Lots going on. This room's about to get really changed up. I only got this one wall behind me. Done. All the other walls are insulated and poly. So, I'm going to get one more wall done over here today. And then I'll switch this around. So I'm going to be in the corner, I think. I kind of like it out there. I like the space out there. I just got to do something about the, how do you contain the sound in just one end of a big shop? You know what I mean? I think a lot of people emailed in and said to drop a ceiling down or something maybe, and have some other soundproof stuff there. And hopefully I'll have this sliding glass door into this wall that cut out soon too, and that'll brighten it up. And I'm almost thinking I wouldn't mind having this as a guest room instead, which was the original idea, and then get everything out there for doing this, but we'll see. I'm babbling. Now, what's going on? Yeah, I wrote down a couple notes, just some things that caught my attention. Did you hear about, I know there's a lot of people from Oregon here. And I remember before we bought this farm, and I remember before thinking if I ever moved to the States, I wouldn't have minded moving to Oregon for sure. Possibly is one of my picks, just because the black-tailed deer there are frickin' huge, lots of hunting. But apparently, Portland's having some troubles, right? Apparently, did you hear that Walmart is leaving Portland? They're saying in the news today how bad it is when Walmart shuts its doors. I guess because there's no law there. People just walk in and steal stuff and walk out and they're not allowed to stop them. What? How crazy is that? What else? The January 6th video? That was something. I don't really say much about mainstream news items, but I'll tell you what, man. When a government, I don't care what country it is, lies their face off and destroys the life of someone intentionally and lies when they didn't have to. That's pretty sad. Those videos that came out showing that guy basically had 6 police officers walking around him, opening up doors and stuff and escorting him around, and almost like being on a tour in that government building. Pretty sad. Now he's incarcerated for numerous years. What? It's pretty evil. Pretty dark, right? Anyway, saw those 2 headliners this morning and caught my attention for a little bit. Ow. One more item. I don't even know if I should give any light to this, but it's kind of fun. It's not funny. It's more sad in a way. There's a lot of people out there. There's some odd characters in the planet, odd character traits where somebody needs you to do what they want or else, right? It's really bizarre. Actually, my mother was married to one of those. And with those characters is when they feel they do not have any control, or they're losing control, or they're not getting the control or respect they want, they will go to the most absolute, darkest, sleaziest, destructive modes you can do to attempt to attain that respect or the control that you want. It's pretty brutal. I know you guys, I haven't shared my story with you guys, but if I did, you would probably be wondering why I'm not in jail or dead. My story is something else. But anyway, maybe one day if I feel like it, but I never really think about it. But that man attempted to beat me up again and lost. And because he lost, his ego couldn't take it, and he He's a big bully. And he went, basically destroyed my life. Never saw my mother again, never saw my grandparents again. Destroyed my family, destroyed everything. Because he couldn't attain that respect that he wanted. It's a very sad story. Probably make a lot of you cry. I don't need to share it. Maybe I will one day if I get in the right mood. I don't know. I don't feel the need to. But anyway, I remember a while back, some dude emailed me. And he was absolutely demeaning me, telling me I wasn't a man, and I was everything that could be wrong with a human being was me because of my language. Right? So for me, if you could understand, if you knew half of what my life ride has been, you'd probably be giving me a pat on the back all the time for being as calm and cool as I like to think I am. But I can't help it, obviously, so you guys know why I cannot help it when I come across a bully who comes and attacks me out of the blue. Let's get it on. All right? I've learned that you have to fight. I've learned for me that you have to fight. Some people will disagree, some people won't, but I've lived it and I've learned those hard lessons myself. Sometimes you have to fight. And anyway, make a long story short, I could see the similar traits in that email of one of those psychotic, bully, control freaks. It's really creepy for me to see those traits because I instantly see that dirtbag that ruined my family's life. And then I'm like, oh, it's one of you. Right? And they are very easy to get under their skin, obviously, right? So I sent him back an email, which probably would have been the ultimate nastiest form that you could ever send that particular character. And I knew that I was addressing that character and I was sticking it to him intentionally, just to take him a little bit over the edge a little more. Why? Because he had to come. He offered it up. I probably been the bigger person who ignored it. Whatever, I don't give a shit. I'll let him have it. And I used every filthy, foul word you can come up with and threw it back on him and belittled him and humiliated the absolute shit out of him. So, that personality can't stop there. They just can't. And he did come back on me again later on, but it's like, whatever. The mic's been dropped. Moving along. Well, apparently, a few people emailed me to tell me that it was brought up with Dave. Dave doesn't email me this shit. He doesn't have time for this shit like any normal, sane man would not have time. But, sorry, I'm babbling. Anyways, I guess it sounds like it's the same character. What they do is what happens if somebody can't control you, cannot get you to do what they want, then they'll try to go different routes. And one of the routes that's common with that personality trait is they will go after people who are associated with you or your workplace or whatever, someone or somehow, where they can affect you from another angle. And then they'll go about trying to emotionally affect that person they're trying to dig at to get to go after you. Am I making sense? Probably not. I'm not really awake yet. I'm pretty sure you know what I mean. So this idiot, I guess, a bunch of people emailed me. It said something about somebody who was emailing Dave about my language. I'm like, what? Because I don't have time. I don't watch Dave's stuff. Not very common. I watch Dave's videos. I just don't have time. So Sarah and I we all came back. We all went out for birthday dinner last night. It was really good. We came back and I was going through a bunch of emails and shit and laying there in bed. And I'm like, what the hell? Something's going on here. And I went over to Dave's channel and sure enough, somebody wrote a letter into him complaining about my language. But they went to challenging Dave in a way to almost, potentially humiliate him if he did not bow down to the author of that email and do as he requested, which is probably, I don't know, give me a spanking for having foul language. I don't know, whatever. But it's pretty creepy, isn't it? Isn't it creepy how people do these things, and how somebody of such a low demeanor could actually get that kind of attention? He generated that kind of attention on himself. Amazing, isn't it? Anyways, Dave didn't take the bait. I was surprised he'd actually read the email online. Whatever. Anyway, but Sarah did say last night, she goes, well, in the beginning, your language is pretty bad. I'm like, well, whatever. In the beginning, I had people attacking myself and Dave, and MK Davis, and Scott Carpenter, had absolute dirtbags, and these same dirtbags, the same people who were terrorizing a defenseless woman, Mary Green, sound familiar? and had some other moron who was signing my email up to dozens of gay porn and dating sites and stuff. So my inbox is getting demolished by this same guy. You could tell I knew who it was. Whatever. Never replied, never retorted. But anyways, at that time, who else had people threatening me physically? Had people telling me they were going to show up and take me down when I was going to go to Washington State and meet up with Dave. Dave told me about that. And I'm like, bring it on, man. I'm coming. So just to let you guys know, in the beginning, when I first came out publicly with all this, I knew about a bunch of dirtbags, challenged them all, spat in their face, and I was in 100% street fight mode when I first came out. And if you knew me in my past, I was a true bona fide street fighter. Alright, sorry, nothing to brag about. It's kind of cringe when you look back at growing up and the shit you had to go through, but it is what it is. So the fighter came out, and I'm like, yeah, F everybody. I don't give a F what anybody thinks. Come over to my house, find me, let's do this. Quit being a coward and making all these videos about me, Dave, attacking. So you guys didn't see a lot of that, but that was going on non-stop, 24/7 from numerous directions. And I fought back, held my ground, and that's why we're here today where we are now. Possibly the #1 most listened to place in the world when it comes to this topic, and a few others, possibly. Right? That's why we're here, because I fought back. I didn't bow down, and I did not listen to anybody's threats of demeaning and attempting to humiliate me, to control me, to suppress me, to make me do what they wanted me to do. Like, ram it right up your ass. And then when you give me a personal email like that, you're gonna get it back the odd time, right? So anyways, that's what happened. One of those freaky loser characters tried to do what those characters do next, is looking just for another avenue of trying to get to me, trying to get me to bow down. Another time too, it happened one other time, reminded me of another time a guy emailed me and started slinging his dick and ended with, I've been killing these beings forever, and a flamethrower is actually really effective. Most effective weapon is a flamethrower. This guy's, and he's really detailed and trying to send me this bold, blatant statement email, and I'm like, dude, please, really? Send me a picture. I don't think so. And he absolutely blew a gasket and came on real hard, attacking the shit out of me. And if he did not try to do, Dave forwarded me an email from this guy. And this guy went to trying to humiliate Dave Politis into not being friends with me because I denied him the exposure that he deserved for being the guy that killed Sasquatch with flamethrowers all the time. Yes, I'm dead serious. This shit has happened, alright? So there you go. But you brought it to my attention. It's been addressed. It's over. It's nothing. I'm surprised you got the attention it did. Now, that's my... I don't think I've had my 2 coffees, but I had a huge coffee in a huge mug, so maybe that's why I'm freaking babbling. So what I do is I wake up, hit the coffee, hit a bunch of emails, and I go out, let the chickens out, feed the goats, feed the horses, come in here, and here I am. So you guys get the fresh me in the morning. That's why I'm babbling. People are funny. I can assure you, this place is not the place that you are going to gain any kind of control or manipulate anybody. It's not going to happen. And if you come here to fight, you're probably going to find one. You're going to find one, but you're going to be... Yeah, all right. Biting my lip, sorry. Biting my lip. Get that street kid back in his little room. Let's get listening to the important voices, which are all of yours. Now, who do we got? I'm going to go right off the top right now because I hate repeats, and I have a lot of repeats in my notes. I don't know why, and I have to go in there and look around and dig and make sure I don't repeat emails. It's tough sometimes. I don't know why there's numerous copies in here. It's weird. Here's an email. My concerning thought is the title of this email. I'm a subscriber, but in the middle of the road between believing and not believing in their existence. Obvious due to the absence of any personal experience. I want to believe, I really do. I tell people that if anyone has more miles through the Sierra Nevada range than me, it could only be John Muir. With that, I have never had any sightings or evidence. Although, not that I have ever looked for any. Unusual noises late at night while in a tent, yes, all the time. But nothing ever associated with the possibility of it being other than what probably should have caused it in the world we were taught. I'm concerned about all the attention your channel is putting on, quote, the hunt for, end quote, or, quote, the capture of, quote, any of these creatures, if, of course, any do exist. Attention like this could create mass hype to the extent of irresponsible hunting expeditions to capture something dead or alive. Now, think of what would follow should this expedition succeed. What would become of both sides? What are your thoughts on that? Is this something that already raised concern with you? No need to vent this on your channel, just something from me to you. If they do exist, I worry for their safety and existence. Anyway, thanks for allowing me to pass my concern along. I love hearing the stories and your outlook on society, especially from the top shelf idiots. And by the way, an absolutely great intro to your channel. I could watch and listen to that all day. Okay, man. Appreciate you, John. I was almost thinking you must have me confused with somebody else in another show or something. I don't know, because I don't think we've ever spoke of looking for intentionally or hunting or capturing these people ever here. Not for me. I can guarantee you that one. I think I shared with you guys that in the beginning when I quit guiding for a couple seasons, and then I'm like, hey, now I've got some, my skills are I've got some skills. I'm going to put them to use now that I got the time. And I live right in basically Sasquatch Central in the British Columbia coastal mountains, and I went looking for them intentionally alone. A couple friends, a couple times, and then I quit when I had the shit scared out of me. End of story. And yeah, I don't believe we have ever done that. But anyways, on that same note, I mean, I do believe there might possibly be some reality shows that possibly encourage that. I don't know. I don't watch any of it. But being concerned for their safety, I think most of us could possibly agree by now that it's not going to happen. You know, it's a tough thing for human beings to accept the fact that we are not the best and we do not know everything. It's tough, isn't it? Isn't it kind of funny? But we can't even come up with a camera that will photograph them clearly and continually. We're not good enough, or technology isn't good enough. We just aren't good enough. And if anything, I believe that possibly we should be worrying about our own species more than the safety of theirs. They are existing wherever they do exist full time. They are enabled to be their true selves, absolute free spirits doing what they want to do. And a lot of the time in those beautiful, stunning, frickin' places that I love to go, and they get to do it full time. They're not controlled in any way that we are aware of, and appear to be existing just fine, going about their daily business, nightly business, just fine, doing what they want, when they want, and not paying taxes or listening to absolute douchebags on the television that are in the places called government. You know what I mean? I'll bite my lip on that. I'm just saying, there's no threat there. There's no threat. I could not encourage a party of any human beings to put on some camouflage and a couple rifles and head in the woods and go intentionally slaughter, capture one of these forest people. I don't believe. I think people have been trying to do it for a long time, haven't they? A long time. And they are getting absolutely nowhere. But anyway, thanks for your question. On the fence. Yeah, it's funny. I don't know why you might be on the fence. I totally respect that. I get it. It's like a friend of mine, I'm going to tell this one again. I've told this before, a friend of mine. Very high profile job, very responsible guy, 3 daughters. I've babysat those kids since they're that big, take care of them, trust me with their lives, without a question. Knows of my outdoor experience, and I even said to him, because I was finding it odd how so many people similar to yourself are absolutely chop-stumped when it comes to accepting that these beings are out there and they're running around, whether full-time or not here, I don't know, but they're here. When they decide to be here, they're here. And then I said to my friend, hey man, So you know that if I told you, I just got back from fishing and I I told you that I had a 250-pound halibut right to the boat and I lost it, but I swear it was 250, easy. You'd believe me, right? My buddy goes, yeah, of course, man. You've caught thousands of halibut. Yeah. Okay. If I came back from hunting one day and I said that I was 25 yards away from a 25-inch wide, 7 points on one side, 9 on the other, black-tailed deer, you know that that's what I saw, right? And he goes, yeah, you've got dozens of record-book black-tailed deer, of course. Why would I question you? Okay. And I said to my same friend, same sentence, same conversation. I go, okay, so I'm 17 years old, Vancouver Island, and this huge being is squatting on a rock staring at me, and it's not human. And he goes like this, I'd have to see it to believe it myself. Right? And I'm like, what's going on? But then later on, when I showed him some photos that I haven't had permission to share with you, then he's just like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. But for him, in that particular scene, incident, friend, and then I realized that the topic just scares the shit out of him, and he doesn't want it to be factual. End of story. But I don't think that's the same with you, or many people similar with your attitude towards the topic. But I always wonder what it is that makes so many people untrusting of so many other people. Again, I mean, I am a little trust. People accuse me of being a little too trusting at times, but I am confident in my judgment. For me, right? I'm confident with my judgment, and sort of thing what I try to do with everybody here, I try to read as many emails as I can. I always tell everybody it's my way of possibly, maybe, helping people become more in tune with their own judgment, right? Don't leave it up to me or somebody else to tell you what you should or should not listen to or take for as real or not. But I'm going to hopefully encourage you to become in tune with your own sixth sense, your own judgment, your own intuition. But I wonder what it is like for you and many people who are sitting on the fence like you. How many different people does it take before you realize, all right, this pattern is overwhelmingly blatant in our face. There's literally hundreds of thousands of eyewitnesses from around the globe describing the same thing. That's pretty serious evidence right there in itself, wouldn't you think? But I wonder what it is that makes so many people not even take that in as a factor. How many? 3 million people have seen this thing? Well, I haven't, so I want to believe, but you know what I mean? Anyway, sorry for the babble, you guys. I got to get to reading. Appreciate you writing in, man. I appreciate you writing in. And if or when it does happen, and you get it slapped in the face and a member of the club in no return, make sure you email us and tell us all about it, all right? All right, who's this? Who's next? No subject is tell us email. Excuse me. Hi, Steve. Let me start by saying thank you for all you do and how you do it. Your straightforward, no BS approach is quite refreshing with the clown posse that has seemed to have emerged over the past few years. Anyway, I'll get on with it. My name is Ron, and I am an Oregon State Park Ranger. I spent the better part of my life in the woods, whether it be work or pleasure, but nothing had prepared me for the things that have happened to me in Tillamook State Forest. All right, here we go. My first encounter, I was bored and running mountain roads way up the Trask River and off to the south a bit, possibly behind a few locked gates. Oops. I had taken some rugged terrain in my Hummer and got to the top of the mountain where no one had been in years. I seen a wide spot where trees had been removed probably 50 years ago. I pulled over, hopped out of my rig to take a piss and walked a few steps from my rig, and after I unzipped, I looked up, and about 50 yards away, standing behind a dirt mound, was the biggest SOB I've ever seen in my life. I probably pissed in my boot, and all he did was look me in the eyes. Then he gave me a low, rib-rattling growl, reached up, grabbed a branch, and turned around. I always carry my cell phone on a holster on my side, so without thinking, I pulled it and took a pic. And then hit the hell back in my rig, closing the door and starting my rig. I kept an eye on him, and he just totally ignored me. So I got the hell out of there and went down the mountain like a devil was chasing me. Now, I know that is not much different than any other sighting. However, when I got home, I remembered I took the pic. So I examined it, and oh my God, it was full of surprises. Not far from where I was standing, there was an obvious ditch or old creek bed or something that was relatively deep. The ground in front of me was covered with strategically placed branches to make a roof over this ditch, and also had a small triangular type dome approximately 12 inches high and 12 inches wide. I'm going to guess it was either for air or observation, but upon blowing up my photo, there was clearly a face inside that was looking out, and it was nearly 6 or 8 feet from my feet. There was also a full deer rib cage on the ground that had been freshly cleaned, as well as many other bones scattered. And to top all of this off, there's a makeshift type ladder, so to speak, going up into the tree, parallel to the big guy. And again, upon blowing up the pic, I discovered a very young Sasquatch sitting in the saddle of the tree. You can bet I have not returned to that area, but I have discovered Tillamook has a large population of these guys because I've had several more encounters, but it's late, so we'll have to save those for a rainy day. I do hound you an open invite to come check it out any time. I think you'll be surprised. Thanks for doing what you do and keep it real. There you go. Okay, man, well. No name. Okay, you are about to get absolutely slaughtered in the comment section of this video. Self-induced, right? That's quite the bold statement. You would believe how many people have said they have a clear photo and they don't send it, ever. Alright? Does it bother me? Not the slightest. Is it going to bother the audience? Probably big time. So get ready for it in the comment section below, right? Who knows if I'm around the neighborhood, I don't know. But I don't know who you are. Don't know where you are. Well, Tillamook, alright. I don't know. Obviously, the people are going to be freaking the hell out wanting to see that picture. So it's up to you. You want to send it and share it with them, I'll do it. Other than that, what can we say to that email, right? Now, moving along. Yeah, it's funny how many people have said, I got a video, my buddy's got a video, got a picture, I'm going to send it. They never, ever do. Now, looking for a puzzle piece. Actually, the people that have sent a video, like that one ex-police officer, game warden, he sent that video, that one on the river. He just sent it. Or maybe he said he was going to send it, and then he sent it. I forget how it went down. We had a few emails of that good man, and we've had a bunch of other photos, but anyway. Looking for puzzle piece is the title of this email. Hi, Steve. Darren from Southeast Idaho again. I have a question about something that I experienced for you and the Head Hunt family. I wonder if anyone has ever had the feeling I felt on one of my hunts. This year was 1995. It was towards the end of May. I was out after spring black bear in Salmon, Idaho area. I'd acquired some good hound dogs and was very excited to get out hunting. I ran a few raccoons in here in the area where I live. What a blast. That was the most fun I think I ever had. I couldn't wait to get after the bigger game animals. I did get me a nice mountain lion during the winter season, so when bear came open I was ready to go. I don't have too much knowledge about the area I was in, so I did a lot of scouting around to see where I might be able to cut a track or for my rig dog to pick up a scent. I didn't have much luck. I found 2 other hunters with hounds already running bear. I watched one hunter's hounds run a fairly good-sized black bear up a very steep hillside. The hounds were literally biting at its ass. Quite hilarious. I was having the time of my life. So, since there seemed to be too many other hunters around, I fueled up my truck and drove north of Salmon right up almost to the Montana border. It was an area that was the most beautiful place I've ever seen. Nothing but deep, thick wilderness as far as I could see. The old logging roads I was driving on were rough, so I stopped and decided to go for a short hike. I left my rig dog on top of my truck and the other ones in the dog box I built to fit the whole bed of my truck. Not one of my dogs was making a sound. I walked up a small draw on what looked like an old game trail. I took my 44 mag and I had a 12 gauge with some 3-inch slugs. I only walked about 500 to 600 yards when I came upon a grassy area where I found some old bear scat and a few tracks. I'm not sure how old the tracks were, but I could tell it had been a while. I'm no tracker, and this is when it hit me. I noticed there was no sound, and I mean it was so quiet I could only hear myself trying to breathe. I say trying to breathe because it felt like the air pressure had quadrupled, like someone sitting on my chest. I didn't feel scared or threatened in any way, but the air pressure and the silence started to freak me out. I started to wonder if a bear was close, but I couldn't see anything anywhere. I decided to get the hell out of there and back to my truck and my dogs. I walked about 100 yards and everything started to feel normal again. I could hear some birds off in the distance, but every one of my dogs were absolutely silent. I was thinking, this is very odd. They didn't even get excited when I walked up to my truck, which normally they always did. What the hell was going on? My main question is, has anyone ever felt like they had pressure pushing in on their chest, making it difficult to breathe? I've heard everyone's stories about the silence, but the pressure I felt on my chest was really freaking me out. I thought maybe I'm having a heart attack. If I was, it only lasted the 100 yards that I walked away from where I was standing. If you, Steve, or anyone here in our Head-On family has information, please let me know. Maybe I could find that puzzle piece. Steve, I personally thank you for reading my emails. You're a great man. To Sarah, I send thanks for all the work you do for the Club of No Return, the shirts, the hats, and everything else. Absolutely awesome. God bless you both. Thanks again, Darren. God bless you too, Darren. Thank you for sending that in. And I think we did have a couple emailed in not too long ago, and they claimed that the pressure seemed to change in the vehicle when they're driving. I believe that rings a bell. But anyways, you guys know the routine. If anybody can relate to this man, throw down in the comment section below the video. All right, and to you, Darren, make sure you read the comment section to find out. I'm pretty sure you won't be surprised to hear of people chiming in and describing the same thing. You know, one thing you could do, maybe possibly, is go back to that same area again. Bring a dog on a leash, maybe even a video camera, and test the waters. Just go in there slow, watch the dog's reaction, and see what's up. Maybe. You know what I mean? What if Dave Plattis might be interested in that one too, maybe. I'm sure if anybody's heard of something like that, he has. I'm glad you're still here with us. This title, I Watched It Disappear, from Arkansas. Hi Steve, please don't use my name. I got you. Although I came to the realization that anybody who knows me and hears this is going to know who the author is. But then I also realized that if they're on here and you're reading this on your channel, they must have an open mind, right? I apologize if this is too long. My encounter happened in the winter of 2012. It was just after daybreak on a foggy, misty morning. It was so quiet that morning. I was drinking my coffee and having a smoke on my front porch when I heard branches breaking and movement in the woods coming from around the side of my house towards my front door. I got my iPad ready because in my mind I just knew it was some deer and was excited to record them on my iPad as they wandered into my yard. Now, Steve, the woods on the side of my house are only approximately 30 to 50 yards from my porch. And all of a sudden, there was a very tall, black, upright being making his way towards the dirt road that runs in front of my house. He did not know that I was sitting there, as I was sitting absolutely still. I watched this thing walk upright for approximately 8 to 10 long strides, and I said very quietly under my breath, "What the F is that?" Bracket, I know, not very ladylike, bracket, whatever. The second I said that, he froze. So, help me, Steve, my iPad never entered my mind when I saw him. It never left my lap to record. Then he let out a very long and loud sound that sounded like an owl and a howl combined. About 3 to 4 seconds later, another being that I would guess was approximately 100 to 150 yards away on the ridge line that runs parallel to the dirt road in front of my house and deeper into the woods, returned the exact same call back to him. The very nanosecond that he heard that sound, in the blink of an eye, he was not standing there anymore. He absolutely vanished. I was absolutely dumbfounded and gobsmacked of what I'd just seen. Excuse me. Steve, I was raised in Alaska and lived there for 33 years. I know all about Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and the Hairy Man. We moved to Arkansas in 97, and it never occurred to me that those beings were here. I was assumed they were just in the Pacific Northwest. My mind was a jumbled up mess, realizing what I had just seen. But the disappearing part of it, my mind just could not make sense of it. I must have said to myself 100 times that I just don't understand what the hell. I just don't understand. I found your channel about a year and a half ago because I just never could get this incident out of my head and was researching the subject and stumbled upon your channel. Thank God I did. Not only has it answered so many questions for me, but it has filled in all those missing puzzle pieces that I needed to make sense of it all. I took your suggestion, and I've mentioned this to friends and family, and was surprised that there are people in my area who have had experiences of their own. One that was quite interesting was the lady that does my hair. Her husband said when I asked him if he had ever had anything strange happen to him while hunting, said that he experienced the fear and dread that people talk about in the thicket right behind my house. Over the years I've heard many interesting calls and sounds at night, right here near my house, and have found a footprint or two. No question they are here. Thanks, Steve, for all you do and having this channel for people like me who thought that they had lost their ever-loving mind. I really enjoy the stories, especially the ones from the First Nations people, such as the Owl Man. I hope that your viewers will comment in the comment section if they are from Arkansas and have had experiences. With much appreciation. Blank in Arkansas. Appreciate you. Appreciate your time you just donated to everybody through me here. Let me get back to the part. Let's see what side. 1 second. The very nanosecond that he heard that sound in the blink of an eye, he was not standing there anymore. Okay, I was just reading back, so I was wondering if when he disappeared, if he vanished, if you looked towards that ridgetop sound and then looked and he was gone, or did that sucker go blip out of your vision while you were still looking at him? That's a big question for me. Why? Because so far, I don't know how, for my own puzzle piece of one common factor that I am very curious about is when numerous people, especially hunters, they hear something, look over, and the second their eyes register on a being as it's walking away, they see it. What's that? You know, they're not thinking, oh, there's a bear. But as soon as their eyeballs tell their brain, whoa, what's that? The beings stop dead in their tracks and freeze. What's up with that one, you guys, right? This other man from BC had one in his rifle scope and said that the second he got the scope on it, that sucker turned and looked. He said it looked him straight in the eyeball through the rifle scope. Right? How many times these beings have stopped dead, frozen, the second people see them, without having their eyes on the human being? That's one hell of a connection in whatever brain waves us human beings are giving off during that moment of shock, right? That's something else to be able for them to pick that up. So, because one thing that I've been wondering for myself for a long time is when a human being has their eyes on them, I wonder if that's it. They're caught. Uh-oh, shit. And as long as your eyes stay absolutely focused on them, you got them. I wonder. Do you know what I mean? Because the amount of people who have emailed in and they've seen one, heard something and looked back, they're gone. But as long as they stay looking at them, they're still there. But we have had now a fair good handful of people saying, man, that thing basically just vanished before my frickin' eyes. I had a guy tell me that the other day in person. This one was only like 20 yards from them. Said it's like poop, it just kind of disappeared into the timber right there. It's gone. We've never had the absolute... Like Edgar, who wrote in and described that thing becoming translucent from the waist up, I think, the feet up, when he's jumping up and down. We've had, that was a description given to us of vanishing before somebody's eyes, because you never hear, we don't have a pattern of people saying, oh yeah, it just started turning into particles, and then mist, and then fog, and then clear, and there's gone. We don't have anything like that, right? It's just, usually people say, it seemed to have, well, we have somebody else say they saw it at nighttime with the night vision, and it ducked behind a tree, but the tree was 6 inches wide, and this thing was 4 feet wide, and as it went behind the tree, it disappeared. I'll never forget hearing that one either. That's for my curiosity of this trait that we keep hearing of the vanishing part. Or numerous times people say it's like they just disappeared into the bush and became like instant, perfectly blended in and gone. You know what I mean? So, I am curious if you actually saw it vanish while your eyes were clearly on it, or did it disappear when you looked for 1 second to where the other sound came from and looked back and then it was gone? That's a big curiosity for me. But anyway, appreciate you sending that in. I'm super glad that you're asking around your community because it's the right thing to do, right? Right. Make sure you email us back again with any information you might come across as well, okay? Stay in touch. You're in the club now. Another member of the club and no return. There's no escape. We're a big club, and we got each other's backs, that's for sure. But make sure you send in more knowledge if you come across it, alright? And be safe around there. Be safe around your property. Alright, this next one has a photo. It's titled Dogman and Eye Shine. Alright. So my phone takes color pics at night as long as there is a sliver of a moon. I was just on my porch taking pictures of my yard, amazed at what it could do. The holly tree the Dogman is behind is 12 to 14 feet tall. The big set of eyes are real wide and about 12 feet tall. The smaller eyes are around 8 feet high. My wolf/GSD hybrid doesn't want to go out at night. About 2 months ago, my son and I heard an extremely long, low howl. Something I've never heard. A few nights later, I heard a bunch of coyotes raising hell. Then I heard that howl, and coyotes screaming like they were being attacked. And then I heard a demonic laugh. It gave me the freaking creeps. Mark Mickwerder. Well, that's a little creepy, isn't it? I'll share these pictures. They're, it's... Again, for me, like I always say, well, there's some more blurry pictures, right? But I wasn't there. I didn't take these photos. You did. There's definitely some, some shapes there could resemble something like that. And those glowing things in the timber, don't know what they are. I wasn't there, but there you go. Shared. Shared. If you come across anything else, man, any more knowledge, you get something clear that the people might want to see you can share it with everybody through me. Sounds creepy to me. Like I said before, I'm not the big authority on the Dogman topic. I don't think I want to be either, but I'm taking it in, I'm processing it, and I'm learning. All right. This next one is titled Son and Grandson in Deer Blind / More Dead Chickens and Barter Attempt Full Circle / Lights. A bunch of pictures. Steve, do not share a third photo. Is an aerial photo of my home, your eyes only. Gotcha, man. Gotcha. You can use my name. Well, it's Scott Smith from South Central Southwest Missouri again, and as all of us start out, thank you for all you do. I do, however, worry about your safety if the long-awaited report comes out and you share it. I don't doubt your ability or knowledge on defending you and yours. I just don't want you or your family to be in danger. Stay safe, my friend. On to the story. Thanks for the concern, buddy. Thank you. Okay, this is going back to Missouri firearms deer season from 21, when my youngest son and grandson saw our resident Sabe as they sat in a blind, scaring them to death. Well, you had referred it to Scott Carpenter, and he told me to try offering a barter system to the Sabe, like during deer season, take the hearts, livers, and kidneys, put them in a bucket container, and put it somewhere other animals cannot get into. Well, before a deer season, backing up to Memorial Day weekend of 22, just a couple weeks before the holiday weekend, my oldest son and I had been getting new mineral blocks and corn to put out for the deer. I'd driven to the back of our land and there were no downed trees or anything obstructing the road at that time. We fed them in 3 different places to keep them healthy and staying in the area. Everyone that spring and summer was telling me that there was a big 12-point buck crossing onto my place that'd go 160 plus. There's 3 others that were with him. A young man harvested the smallest one with his bow, an 8-point, and it went 142. Wow. Sounds like some good bucks running around there, man. Anyway, we'd been putting out food for the deer, which is common here, but you cannot hunt baited areas in this county during season. And yes, Missouri is experiencing a problem with CWD. And things that had been good on the Sabe front. I've been seeing the does coming out into the yard with their new spring fawns and grazing, and no, they aren't under heavy hunting pressure, here at least. Well, something had obviously happened. I quit seeing any deer, period. Memorial Day weekend comes, and my wife and I had drove into town to put some flowers on some graves and return in 1.5 hours later. 1 to 1.5 hours later. As we were coming down the driveway, I sat up in my seat and I knew something was off. I could just feel it. I got goosebumps, and I knew what it most likely was. A Sabe. As we pulled into the yard, I asked my wife, "You see the chickens today?" She said she had, but they were nowhere to be found. I told her to go into the house and don't come back outside till I know what's going on. I had my sidearm locked and loaded, as I am a conceal carry. Small frame semi-auto 9mm, but during winter and hunting season I carry either my King Cobra or Python, both 357 mag, Remington 700 30-06, or a Model 7 260 Remington, and a Busey fixed blade. Hog leg of a knife. Mind you, I've never imagined shooting a Sabe or thought that I'd like to for a trophy or for science. It's just never crossed my mind to hurt one. To me, it's like someone asking me, "Hey man, you want to go rob a bank?" No, I don't. Pulling the trigger is a big decision. They're too human looking, and I just wouldn't be able to do that unless it was in defense of my life. Point is, I don't hate the Sabe, but I want perspective boundaries that we both can live by if he has to live right here. It's not just me and the Sabe. I've got kids and grandkids that I'd like to protect from such truths until they're ready for them. Anyway, I'm driving around in the side-by-side, and I come to the electric pole just at the edge of our yard. I put a game camera up and pointed it at the chicken coop to see if any predators were coming in. Pictures I saw, my boy driving through, deer, etc. Then the last picture was a long limb, which was totally covered in hair up to the lens, and it was in IR. So it was black and white. Last picture it took. It was out of focus and really has nothing to prove as it's not clearly visible. As I began to look around where I'd had the trail camera pointed into my yard, and no, I wasn't trying to get a picture of a Sabe, I looked to the right of the pole and I see a 3-foot circle. I measured it, where it obviously had made this for me to see, and there was at least one feather from every different breed of hens I'd had running loose. Only one escaped him. So all but one of my laying hens are now dead. No body parts, nothing, just feathers. Mind you, our youngest son didn't want to go into town with us, so he stayed home with our old English bulldog. So, this happened while my son is at home by himself. He's 13 now, so it's not like we were leaving a small child at home by themselves. As I'd stated in my previous accounts, my son's handgun training had long been underway. I told him where the just point and pull the trigger thunder maker was in case he needed to breathe a little fire. I came in the house mad as hell, grabbed my Bible, my cedar cross, and holy water as a precaution since this has all happened. And I jumped in the side-by-side and went to the north, south, east, and west points of my yard and rebuked him in the name of Jesus Christ with a bit of a yell and anger in my voice. I drove back to where we'd put out the mineral blocks and feed, and as I got to the bottom of the hill, about 3/8 of the mile away from the house, passing the valley runoff, I started to go through the cedar grove, and there it was. That Sabe had pulled a cedar tree over across the road enough I could not get through without cutting it. The tree was not uprooted, cracked, or harmed in any way. It was just at a 45-degree angle now. At that point, I knew he was telling me, stay out. Not gonna lie, it pissed me off something fierce. But I've never thought of harming the Sabe in any way whatsoever. It all made sense, not seeing the deer I'd previously been watching every day, now absent. I don't really go out into the woods unless it's to restock salt or corn, and we have ticks here. Oh my god, do you ever have ticks there? I sat on a nest of those damn things. It seemed like one time turkey hunting. They make going in the woods a risky proposition. I didn't last year, but I may brush hog some of the pasture. But it's in the top pasture that runs along the highway, not back in the woods. Well, summer came and the deer came back and things were good. You've got more chickens and they are doing great, fully raised now. Well, it's now fall and deer season is upon us. My oldest son hunts pretty hard, so he was out at the house quite a bit. Our middle son hunted some, but he works a lot, so he only came out a couple times. My youngest would not go out unless I or his big brother went with him. So at that point, I knew the Sabe had done the emotional damage I was afraid of. Damn it. My son and I talked about the barter deal and how to do it. Well, my boy took two deer one evening with his new 350 Legend, 355-9mm diameter, and he put the hearts and kidneys and livers in the bucket for me to take back and leave. My youngest boy went with me, and we stopped at where he pulled the cedar tree over. Well, hell, he's pulled over 2 more cedar trees, just like the first one, and some sapling, hackberry or something, and none of them were broke, but they were all at a 45-degree angle. I strung the bucket up with some 550 cord, put the lid on it, made a brief out-loud statement that this is a barter deal was in the bucket, and I'd leave him alone to do what he needed. Mind you, the bucket was full of blood along with the parts. When me and my boy went back to get the bucket, we could see where he'd broken the limbs around it, and there were footprints all underneath it, but nothing like a good, clean, clear track. I looked inside the bucket, and it had just rained about it had rained about 1.5 inches, and it was totally empty and appeared as if someone had washed it, like he cleaned it for me. Well, okay, thanks, I guess. That's the last thing that was upsetting me, is I'm not trying in any way to capture a photo. I know what the hell they look like. I don't need a picture. However, as we passed a food plot /corn/salt-like area, I decided to get my SD card from the game camera pointed right at the plot. 3 different times I've checked the card and batteries and everything is good to go. But when checking for pictures, the camera was shut off almost as soon as I had put it back up. The third and final time I just left it as I'd set up and thought, if I get pictures of deer, great. If not, oh well. This time was different though. As I began taking the camera down, I saw where something like a stick had hit the exterior of the camera so hard it cracked the outer case and it doesn't work now. That pissed me off as well. It's not like I had the camera up trying to catch a large area, just trying to get pictures of deer and wildlife, not for the Sabe. But I guess he doesn't care. To date there's been nothing, no sounds, tree knocks, and most importantly no dead chickens. A couple weeks ago, however, my grandson had come over to spend the night, and this little guy is hunting crazy. I do not mention the bear man, as he called it. He was sitting with me in the bed just after waking up, and he told me this, "Papa, you know bears, black bears?" I replied, "Yeah." And he said, "This bear I'm talking about had red eyes." Oh crap, I asked him, "Son, tell Grandpa where you saw this bear. Was it at your home with Mommy and Daddy?" He told me no. I asked, "Did you see the black bear here?" He answers, "Yes." I looked at him, "Bub, are you talking about a normal black bear?" That's when he told me no, but he said it wasn't a normal bear, and he couldn't think of how to say it. I just took the chance and said, "Was it a big bear man?" And he perks up, "Yeah, it was the bear man." I don't know if he actually saw it, had a dream about it, or what. All I know is it's in his mind and there's no getting it out. Steve, I take a long time to think about things before I speak about them. It's just how I am. When I was a kid, I was really sick and missed 4 months of kindergarten, and the teacher told my mom I was too intelligent to hold back. She said, "In fact, he's one of the brightest students I've had in a while. Even though he's missed a lot, he's ahead of the other children, and it wouldn't be right to fail him simply over attendance." I've always enjoyed learning, trying and experiencing new things, but going to a fancy college and trying to change the world was not something I dreamt of. I was determined I was going to be normal if it killed me. I begged my mom to not let them test me. I got my way, only child. But the teachers knew I was playing possum and just flat refused to do my work. Back then in the late 70s, one could changing schools easy enough, and not everything from your previous school would necessarily follow you to the new school. In '83 we moved up the road a few miles, and I was going to a new school where I've lived and worked most of my life ever since. I was able to keep the truth hidden for a while longer, but the new teachers eventually found out. Anyway, eventually I'd be tested and described as what is known as an autodidact. Do not read aloud. What it means in essence: I find a topic, hobby, or area of interest, and it can be important or just out of curiosity, and I consume the knowledge of said thing, reading, visual, or hands-on learning, until I feel I've mastered it or can no longer find more information to consume. Show me something one time, and I remember it forever, and can do it without any help or instruction. Autodidacts have a very high active and above average photographic memory compared to the most average people. Being an autodidact doesn't mean that you're smarter than other people necessarily, only that you learned about things differently and consume vast amounts of knowledge instead of getting the basics and moving on. Growing up in rural Missouri, you learn standing out apart from your peers is not always a good thing, so I learned to imitate the people around me really fast. I guess that could be said for any small town. I've said all that to say this: I have a damn good memory, and this bat has sharper radar than the Nautilus, so it puzzled me for years when I never could recall the actual event concerning being tagged, or the supposed piece of plastic getting into my leg. That's not something I'd forget ever, and I think most people wouldn't either. You talk about being tagged by Sabe. Could it be a literal physical tag? I'd never known this until watching your channel, and thought seeing two Sabe in a lifetime had to be extremely rare. Only to find out once you've seen one, you'll see others, and it's not so rare. Now I know I'm in good company. I knew that many UFO abductees claim to have implants inside their body, but that's not me. When I was around 7 years of age, I had a black piece of something under my skin just above the left kneecap. Someone would ask me, "What's that on your leg?" Or, "What's that under your skin?" Almost on cue, it would just blurt out of my mouth like vomit. "Oh, that's a piece of plastic from a toy that broke off in my leg when I was a kid, and I could never get it out." I have no memory of that black object getting into my leg. Let's be clear, I do not believe I was abducted by UFOs. I believe in the phenomenon, and haven't seen one. I believe in the phenomenon and have seen one unidentified object up in the sky that was moving too fast for a satellite and way too fast for a plane or space debris. However, an abductee I am not. Over the years I tried to remove this black thing from my leg, but every time I'd cut into my skin I never could get a hold of this thing. About a year ago I finally got serious and got hemostats, jeweler's tweezers, a razor blade and alcohol. Then I went about the task. I got down to it and was finally able to grab hold of it by pulling it, but it wouldn't come free. I could see soft tissue was attached to this object. My tissue had grown to it. A little cut of the soft tissue and it came free. Not in one piece, it came out in 3 pieces, and it was not plastic. It was like a piece of triangular black aluminum foil. You could squeeze it and it would lay back flat, but not perfectly. It did have a bit of a crumple to it. I threw it in the trash, glad to be rid of it. I've not noticed anything different since then, so I have no idea. Maybe it was a piece of plastic and I simply blocked it out. I don't know. I don't believe that would constitute a traumatic event that my mind needed to block out to protect emotional state to stay in balance. Could it be a literal physical tag? I don't know. Have you read or perhaps discussed with other people for more educated on this aspect of our subject? I cannot speculate, nor do I care. I just thought it might trigger someone that maybe had an event to write in describing their own account. One last thing. You talked about lights and orbs, etc. My senior year in high school, me and 3 buddies were camping out in this holler, west/W/pasture, all around us, and we used a ditch as a wind block. We were talking, carrying on, drinking 12 packs of beer, and soda. I meant soda. Yeah, you know, oat soda. He's being funny, in case you missed it. I get it. Well, all of a sudden, we see this white light across the fence in the timbered area. It was about 4 foot off the ground. It wasn't a shining beam of light like a flashlight. It was just a white ball of light that was going pretty slow, just like it was meandering through the trees looking for something. We thought, coon hunters? And hollered out to them. Howdy, fellers. No response. We also did not hear any dogs yelping on the scent trail either. But just then, the light stopped and was suddenly gone. If it would have had a beam, I'd have thought, hunters, and not give it any other thought, even until this day. Anyway, my buddy drove to his house and got his 12-gauge shotgun. We're standing, poking our heads out up over this gulch, and we're freaking out. My buddy yells out, "If you're out there, you better say something or I'm about to bust your ass with buckshot." He's from Texas. What are you going to do? The light, in a strange, hard-to-describe way, turns toward us. Still no beam, but it acts like it's looking at us. Then it starts heading back the way it came, and just before reaching the edge of the field, it goes out. I don't know what it was, never found out. Fast forward, winter 2019-2020. I was watching TV, and I could see this white light in the pasture. I yell at my wife, "You see that light in the pasture?" She hollers back, "No." "Oh wait, I do see it." "Is it red and green?" I responded, "What? Red and green? I saw a white light, not any other color." My daughter-in-law, mother of my grandson and wife to my oldest son that witnessed the Black Sabbath, was also there, and she said she saw a red and green light about 6 feet off the ground. I got up, grabbed my sidearm, walked into the woods around the back of the house, heading to the upper pasture, and I just sat down for an hour about 100 yards away from where I saw it. Nothing. Not one sound, no lights of any color. I've not seen anything since. It's not road traffic, as our house is a long ways off the road, and you can't even see the highway from our place. We've also lived there almost 18 years. I've never seen anything like it before or since. Are these two things part of being tagged? I don't know, but I've thought about it a year before deciding to write in to tell you. Maybe, may not mean anything, but there it is, for what it's worth. These are things that happened in my life that gave me moments to pause. Well, no big deal to many and me at the time, but watching you and hearing so many shares, it got me thinking maybe those events are linked to this topic. I don't know. It has been a bit concerning to me, as there are those moments in my life I thought very little of, until I began watching your channel and listening to all the others from the round table sharing their knowledge and events. Many things I've just brushed aside as strange or weird. Haven't taken on much more meaningful part of my life. No longer filed away under strange and unexplained. There are too many with similar events as to my own for them all to be just coincidence. Take care, Steve, and thank you for all you do. So glad you and Sarah had a great vacation. You stay safe and keep that wonderful family of yours safe. I include a picture of the barter bucket with my youngest son, Parker, in the picture so you can show the people for scale and see the trees bent over too. Also, I have a L white oak where it's bent 90 degrees, not more 10-12 inches off the ground. Then the tree grows straight up. It's over 3 feet around. So it's no sapling. Is that anything to do with Sabbath or just native Indian tribes? The Punkashaw Indians lived here for hundreds of years and are an offshoot of the Osage. I love the t-shirt, coffee mug, and hat. Just had a couple cups of coffee this morning from it. You tell Sarah not to worry. She's done an amazing job getting that stuff out, and I thank her for it. I still want her recipe for pea meal. Awesome quality, and on all 3 accounts. Hang tough, man. You know there are many, many men ready if we just get the word. Respectfully, Scott Smith, the Ozark Mountains, Missouri. I was Missouri born, Missouri bred, and when I die, I'll be Missouri dead. You know? If Canada's stand gets too bad, Missouri has low taxes, good land prices, and I might know someone that could get you a good deal and some acreage in a house. Think about it. Okay, man. I'll read this part and okay, hold on a minute. Okay, man, I just read your postscript. Appreciate it. And I agree with you on all levels on what you mentioned about one of these things. And as well, I know a pile of people directly that have had the same thing go down with them too. It's unfortunate, it's frustrating, makes you angry, and makes you want to rise up, right? Anyways, I appreciate the invite, and help you heal up and keep walking around, because I just might come down there and replace my turkey fan that got shredded up here when those damn rats were in here. It was my very first turkey I ever shot in Missouri. Here's the photos. Alright, let me get those photos posted up. Get this video posted up. Appreciate you emailing me in, man. Make sure you email back with any more knowledge you pick up on. Alright? Let us know how it's going. And we'll see what comes here. I just may be able to make it over there in time while they're still gobbling. You never know. I'd love to. Trust me, I'd love to. It's just if I could pull it off. But anyway, I gotta get moving, you guys. I got this room to finish, got work to do, and then I still have to take Sarah to the big city tomorrow for the rest of her birthday present. And then I will be back. I'm also working on a new invention so that I can possibly, my next outdoor filming invention is going to be I'm going to rig this rig up. I've built it in my mind, and it's going to float with the leader to my little bead shot and the gear in front of it, and I'm going to float it down the river and see if I can manage to get one of those big chrome steelhead to come up and take the lure right in front of the camera. That'd be exciting. Anyway, I'll be back shortly. Keep emailing me in what you feel people need to learn at sharemystory@howtohunt.com. Alright? I'll be back shortly.
Beautiful fish. Bye-bye.
Sweet.